Hello, fellow students. Thank you for watching this video, and I'd like to talk today about some of the topics for this week, specifically Western civilization and the importance of the topic, and how it needs to be understood by historians, studied by students, and it's an important part of the history curriculum. First, I think it's important to understand what Western civilization is a good thing to start on. Bradley Berzer, in his article from the American Conservative, made it clear about this. He said that many think of the Western civilization, or the West particularly, as the harbinger of all evil, of sexism, racism, anything else you can think of, colonialism, imperialism, and is led by white males, and how this is a horrible thing. But he makes the point that the West is the foundation of liberty and freedoms that we all enjoy here, and where most of the people who make this argument are. So that's one thing that he said I think was really important. And he also made the point, and some other made the point as well, that the West is not necessarily a locale. It's not necessarily a geographic place, but it is a tradition. It is a system of thinking, more than it is a place. Many think of it as being centered in Europe, and again, white males, but more than this, it is a set of ideals that come down from really even Greco-Roman classical times to us. And not just the Greco-Roman foundations, but also foundations of Scripture. And in the Greco-Roman tradition, the names to think of are Plato, Aristotle, and what they've talked about freedom, especially Aristotle, which we have more writings of course. And he talked about freedom, or freedom as not having restraint from an outside source. But it takes a little more digging in to really understand this, because he doesn't mean that you're free to do whatever you want, good or evil, but he made the point that freedom was for those who are morally upright. If you're not morally upright, and even, we could say, even religious, then this freedom is going to lead to slavery. In the biblical tradition, Paul is the best place to look, and Paul talks about different places, talks about freedom and liberty. He talks about that for freedom, Christ has made us free, and not to submit to a yoke of bondage, of slavery. And he saw this as going back to evils or sin as slavery. And so these kind of traditions go together, and it does make a good point about what freedom really is. It's not freedom to do whatever you want, good or evil, but for a moral, upright person, a person who is religious, to have the freedom to do the right thing, and not to do the wrong thing. So, and this tradition came down through the Middle Ages and into the Renaissance, Reformation, and even down to English-speaking peoples, as we've read of this week as well, in the United States, and even into America. So the real thing to understand of the West is it is the foundation for liberty, and unfortunately, we have a view of societal evils being free to do these things, and that is not freedom, but will only lead to slavery. Thank you for listening.